G'day everyone. I'll be with you in 2 secs. Just having a bit of a setup action going on here, and I'm a little bit disorganized, so I'll be with you in just a tick. Okie dokie, I think we are good to go, and let's get into the action, shall we? I'm not sure if Ash is able to join us today. He said he may be able to join us today. Very busy man once he gets to Singapore, of course. And if he can, happy days. If not, then we will press on regardless. Now, what do I want to look at? A couple of things I wanted to look at. Kiwi US dollar was one. So let's have a further look at that, shall we? The decision I made to get out here wasn't such a good one by the look of it. And the setup that I was looking for hasn't come to pass either. And one is a result of the other, one would suggest. Of course, we had the FOMC statement overnight, and that put paid to any suggestion that anything was going to rally against the dollar for whatever reason. You know, the market has decided that whatever Philip Lowe said, and I read the statement, didn't have anything to do with the press conference, read the statement. Yes, I can see there's a little bit of a bullish attitude to come out of it, but I wouldn't think it'd be that dramatic. And for that reason, I don't think I've changed my mind too much on where we should be going next. And that, to me, is still a big retracement on this one. However, it's lost its shape, and the structure is now a little bit different. We seem to be, and I continue to say seem because it's not that clear to me yet, that we've negated the daily trend, which is obviously higher, high, higher, low, high, 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 low, high, high. And now we're putting in a lower low. No lower high yet, of course, and that still brings me to the point that I'm making, and that is that we're due for retracement here. So I'm keeping my eye very closely on this. If it does look like reversing this at any stage, I'll be all over it. But at this point in time, of course, all we've got is a bit of a consolidation after this pretty swift now drop. In fact, it is very swift, isn't it? Did someone tell me get out of this, or was it me? Oh dear. At least we got the move, I suppose. We've just left a little bit of it on the table, unfortunately. Anyways, there is simply no point crying over spilt milk. And it's not like we lost anything. We just didn't gain as much as we needed or wanted. And that's always, is that called greediness? Potentially, isn't it? I did what I wanted to do. So no looking back. Just hasn't panned out the way I thought it might. But again, looking for retracement here, and the only way I want to trade is long. If there's an opportunity for that, I'll certainly scream it out. Now, yesterday in this show, I placed two trades. Well, I placed one trade and forecast the other. We'll get to the other in a little bit once I've been through the rest of these pairs. I hope you got on board that, actually. It's worked out quite well so far. Euro yen was the other one, and I was looking to trade this on a 4-hour chart, trading a breakout at this level here. And well, you can see what happened. Absolutely nothing like what I was attempting to achieve. Again, I'm not writing this one off. I don't see any reason yet to suggest that we can't have a rally and break through this level here. That is still on the cards as far as I'm concerned. We've still got a double bottom. We've still got a higher low. The higher low is not tradable for me at this point because I don't like it too much. The vicinity of the weekly pivot is very, very menacing, and the potential for us to hit that and bounce lower is too strong for me to take a trade here. So that's something I won't be doing. What will I be doing? Well, waiting, I suppose, for the weekly pivot to break and then we get a pullback to, let's say, the daily pivot area and put in a higher low there. That would be what I'd be seeking to do. And if that were the case, I think we can attack this trend line and hope we can burst through it. If we can, happy days. If not, as long as we've taken profit before it shouldn't be that much of an issue. There, of course, is the potential of this to test this low. Again, I've got no problem with that either if it happens, as long as it happens before it sets up what I'm looking for. If it does do that, then we simply have to bide our time and wait until we do get that higher low a little bit down the track. It is a kind of funny day for a lot of currency pairs today, pound pairs in particular, but I've been steering clear of the pound pairs this week because I think the pound's too far gone and we need to see a little bit of a settle down or a retracement or something, something that resembles a reversal pattern maybe, before I start to get confident on those. The pound news, which is multifaceted today, will determine, I think, the next, I don't know, week or so in terms of a direction on the pound. We'll talk about that a little bit, but not that interested until that news comes out. So Euro Yen still keen to trade long, but I definitely see that on the short term or the smaller term time, or the smaller time frames, there's potential for this to go and seek out this bottom first. So no trade there at the moment. Euro CAD. Yeah, again, if you take a look at bigger picture stuff, we've come out of this massive consolidation pattern that we'd been in since almost the beginning of the year, basically, and had this sell-off down to the 146, 147 area. We've kind of been ranging in that vicinity for some time. Looking now to either break to the low side or maybe get back into this range. Very, very tough for me to be looking at trading short here. That's official. But if it were to break this level, then you can probably think there's going to be a little bit of momentum behind that, given this bar here and the fact that we're now getting follow through. So this may well be a see you later Euro CAD time. I always like to look at what oil's doing before I make a judgment on what the CAD's about to do. Yeah, look, you can read a little bit of a reversal pattern into there, can't you? But that said, we're still above the monthly pivot. This could bounce here as well. It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. It's not yet a lower high. We've certainly got a lower low. If this were to become a lower high, then we're probably thinking short. But I don't think we're there quite yet. So that's oil I'm talking about. So I'm going to take that out of the equation when determining the fate of Euro CAD until it does sort itself out, of course. Yeah, look, 50-50 here for mine. It could easily continue to break short, or it could find this as a support level and get back into the range. If it were to do that, then I'd look for a break of the daily pivot, maybe hit the weekly pivot, come back and give us a higher low here, and look to trade it to the top of the range. That would be my analysis on Euro CAD. Euro Aussie, yeah, look, disappointed here. Not so much that I've missed anything, but that nothing gave me a way in. I wanted to trade this short as a lower high. And yes, the lower high is there. Dreadful candle on the 4-hour chart. Maybe there was some way to do it on the hourly chart. I wasn't really paying that much attention. No, I don't see a way to trade that, frankly, from this level. But that's what I was seeking to do, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that it hasn't set up. Don't give up on it. I think this is a relatively recognizable scenario here where we've got a clear reversal pattern in the head and shoulders, and now we've come back to meet that shoulder. If this is to be reversal, then that is going to be the key level without question. And that's why I was so keen on it to get short here, but only under my own terms, not under just jump in. Looking very much like it wants to take on this level. And as I said, this is a key level. And once we've come back to that and rejected it, I think we're in for a bit of a sell-off time here. So I'm still keen to get short. It's a matter of how. Maybe a bull bar here gets me interested. We're still kind of in between pivots, aren't we? Mind you, the monthly pivot is less than a day old at this point. So how strong that's going to be at this particular time is an interesting question. You can also see the potential for this, and that red line there depicts of an area where you might find, or if you're one of these people who seek them out, potential reversal patterns. There's a big one there we pointed out yesterday. Big head and shoulders could well be under construction here. And if that were to be the case, it's slightly out of context for mine, because I think, as I probably said yesterday, I like to see these on the top or the bottom of something. Really, the only top and bottom we're at here is a range. But, if it's there, it's there. I'll just add less weight to it if that is to be the case. But frankly, that's not the reason. The reason here is that we've got a lower low, a lower high, and now we've matched that, but been unable to put in a higher high, and we've still got another lower low. So I think that's really potential trade, at least down to here, to the 160.32 level, and thereafter, don't do what I did on Kiwi US dollar. Leave something on the table just in case it keeps going, right? Rather than stops here and goes back into the range. So Euro Aussie definitely still on the short list of shorts for me, if you like. Let's talk Euro dollar, shall we? And those of you who were in the show yesterday hopefully have grabbed this trade and traded it exactly as I described, or even better than I described. My way of doing it is relatively conservative, if you like, but really yesterday what we traded was the FOMC news in a roundabout fashion. When you've got a major announcement such as the FOMC statement and interest rate announcement, in particular, if there's a miss or indeed if there's a beat, neither was the case on the number. But what we did witness, of course, is a big sell-off of the majors against the dollar once the statement was interpreted, if you like, and once the press conference was underway and all the questions and answers had been taken care of. That's still the case. We're still witnessing a weak euro US dollar at this point. If you were in the show yesterday, I hope you traded it because it's set up exactly as we want it to set up. And that was that at the announcement time, I said, if we're on or near that red line, take the trade. You'll recall that. If you don't, then go back and have a look at the recording. We were bang on it pretty much. We're a little bit off it where this candle began, but we were pretty much bang on it, and you can see exactly what price did. We had a little bit of a short spurt at that exact level, and then bang, tanked did we go. Now, if you did trade this the way I suggested, then your stop loss would be here right now. Right there at 111.77. Now, you've got a few options here. You could leave it exactly where it is and do nothing and still be at full risk because you haven't reached the 95% of take profit level yet, 95% of the risk. We're getting closer, I'm sure. The risk was there. So entry there. Stop loss there. The risk was 70, let's say 80 pips. And you're currently 61 pips to the good. So that's only, what, 3/4, 0.75. You've still got 0.2 of that position to go before the first take profit level. Now, you can let that run, and that's fine. No problem with that at all, and stay at risk. I don't tend to do that because I don't like being at risk for too long a time. And I do believe although it looks to be in the safest place, doesn't it, above this swing, you could pinch a few pips off it and stay relatively safe, in my opinion. Or what I tend to do in these circumstances, and oftentimes it's too conservative, is I'll just move my stop to entry and therefore be at no risk. You could also take profit here. There's many ways you could manage this. I'll leave that up to you guys. I will probably be thinking move stops to entry. Although I do like where the stop loss is currently. The potential here for a retest of the daily pivot, maybe that level, maybe even that level, is there, however. Yeah, I'm not that keen to move my stop at the moment. We'll leave it go. And if we do come back to here, let's see what happens. We've got plenty of time to think about this. There's no news that should rock this currency pair until FOMC tomorrow. Maybe the pound news will rock it a little bit, but I wouldn't consider that we're going to suffer too much in the meantime. But yeah, I'll leave the management up to you guys. If you want to stay at risk and let this run, happy days. If not, then those options I've just given to you. But hopefully you got on board and now understand how that trade works. It's useful in quite a few occasions when you've got major news coming out. NFP is another one, in particular, where you're getting a number only and not a debate or a statement or a conference or something like that, because they can go either way very rapidly, like this candle here. Don't want that. That's not what we want. That's what we want. A nice decisive breakout. Perfect. Okay, so if you're not in that and wondering what on earth to do with euro dollar today, then let us take a look. It does not look anything but bearish to me. I like this little hold bar, if you like. Inside bar there. Look, it can mean reversal, no question, but to me, I like it as a momentum builder and a energy storer. And if this level goes, then I think we're in for a bit of a ride here on euro US dollar. So yeah, nothing to trade here for me at this point. If you're not in the trade, then so be it. Aussie Kiwi. Yeah, look, I'm still keen on this one as well. Reasoning. Well, we've had a pretty decent old run down here. Why haven't I got a channel there? It really looks like a channel, doesn't it? Not that great, you think? Maybe in there. I like it there. Okay, so when I look at the structure here, I'm seeing a few things. Definitely seeing that channel, and we're honouring the top and bottom of that quite well, tracking beautifully. Now going sideways, of course. Do we just continue to go sideways until we meet this level? Maybe. Maybe. But you can see that we're deep in consolidation here, and we've come off the bottom. We put in a double bottom on a horizontal basis, and we have retested this area once, twice, 3 times without being able to break back above it. I think that's a very crucial point. If we cannot do it again, then I'd be thinking, okay, we're going down to here. But if we break it this time, in particular if we break the top of the channel as well, and then come back and test the confluence area, wow, that's a pretty bullish sign for mine. And I'm not suggesting that it is going to happen, of course, but if it happens, then I'm definitely jumping on the bandwagon and trading this back to the highs. So I think that would be quite a sensible move to make. It's also, if you go a little bit wider, clearly the bottom of the bigger picture range that we have. We're not there, mind you. We've only just approached it, but really what it is, it's a higher low based on these based on the base, if you like. So nice place to break long here for mine. It's been a very, very swift rally up to the 107.50 area, and then a very, very steady decline back down this way. It's usually the other way, isn't it? Don't they say up by the staircase, down by the elevator? Well, this was up by the elevator and down by the staircase. Very, very interesting. Not that unusual for this cross by the look of it. Goes up quickly and comes down slowly. Goes up slowly, comes down slowly. Yeah, interesting. All right, but what I'm seeing is the definite potential here for this, if it does break this level, to go long. The converse of that, and there always is another way to look at it, is if this doesn't break above here, as I said, we look like we could well be going down to this level here. So this area crucial, and I'll be keeping my eye on it for sure, waiting for it to either show me a sign that's going to break or that it's going to bounce here. So it's break or bounce time for Aussie Kiwi for mine. Aussie itself, yeah, it's tough to be bullish at the moment, really. But the only thing that's kind of making you think this has potentially got something left in the tank is the fact that we're now matching this bottom that we put in back in June. Hasn't done what I was anticipating, and I was anticipating similar to the Kiwi, that this would bounce and go long. I think the FOMC statement hasn't helped without question that particular equation. But when I read into that FOMC is involved and we haven't really broken the support level, I then start to think in the opposite direction, and that direction still becomes a bull move for mine. So I'm still of that opinion, whilst ever this low is intact, and it is, that we could get a rally here, maybe back to the bottom of the channel at least, and maybe back to the trend line, maybe at best before FOMC. That's a big, drawing a long bow, I might add, since we're only about 30 hours away from the FOMC statement, not the FOMC, the NFP statement. So yeah, not giving this up, but it's tough to be thinking long at this very moment, I would have to say. Aussie yen looks a little bit more promising than the Aussie, but only a little. And the reason it's only a little, or the reason it does look a little bit more, because it has broken this trend line that we see here. Barely, I might add, but there it is. Would I be confident trading this long? No, I don't say that for a second, because really we've got since here lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, potentially lower highs. No reversal pattern that I can see clearly. Tough to be thinking long here right now. What would I need to see? I suppose you could draw a left shoulder, head, right shoulder here. I'd probably take notice of that, but then I'd need to see a higher low or a break of the neckline. Talking hours and hours away, if not days. I'm not interested in this at the moment. Aussie CAD, not dissimilar. The one thing I would say about Aussie CAD that I can't say about Aussie CAD that I did say about Aussie yen was that we haven't broken the trend line here. So, technically we're still in that sequence of falling, but we do have a double bottom sitting here clearly. So that's interesting. What would I need to see to get interested in trading this? And I think I'm kind of fixated, aren't I, on looking for reversals. It seems that I'm not even considering trading with the trend. That's kind of my nature, I must admit, but it's getting to the point where I'm noticing it myself. I'm questioning that as I'm sitting here. Well, yeah, really, I see an oversold market. That's why. It's not rocket science here. When I get to a point, and I'll show you a little trick that I use often, and it's to do with the gap between the weekly pivot and the daily pivot. Now, bear in mind, we're nearing the end of the week, and the gap between the daily pivot and the weekly pivot on this cross Aussie CAD is currently 107 pips. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 107 pips isn't a massive amount. But if you have a look, and I'll go a little bit wider, not much. If you have a look how many times the daily pivot and the weekly pivot are separated by 107 pips. So just visually, get a grip or a handle on how big that gap is, and then see if there's that gap anywhere else on the chart. Maybe there. Yeah, it's around about there, isn't it? Around about 105. And there. A little bit more than that. But if you're seeing a theme here, and I'm hoping you are seeing a theme here, once we get to that level, that 100-odd pip level, what tends to happen? Well, one of two things. We either run out of the week or they come together, as in here, as in here, as in here, certainly as in here, and certainly as in here, and certainly as in here. So if we consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks, 3 of which have had a gap of 100 pips or more, that tends to give you a probability factor for mine. And that's the reason. And I guess I just do it unconsciously or subconsciously because I know what that chart looks like. But that's very much worth taking on board. When these stretch out to a point that isn't acceptable in current context, then you're starting to see something that needs to be taken notice of. I'll put it that way. Okay, so that's why I'm not of a bearish nature on this cross because I think it's overextended or oversold, whatever you want to call it. Wouldn't be looking to trade it short. So high low, same. Nothing changes really, does it? Pound pairs. Look, if I was ever going to think about trading a pound pair prior to a Bank of England statement press conference, I don't think it would be now because of the enormous pressure that this cross is under. It is just amazing, and I can't. This is pound yen, not pound US dollar, but same applies. I can't, for the life of me, find a reason to trade it long now. It's starting to form a basis for a reason, but the reason is not there yet. And what I'm referring to, of course, is a potential double bottom here, but it's only potential. We've still got this level to go. And at the moment, I don't see any form of reversal. The daily chart's not giving it to me. The 4-hourly chart is not giving it to me. It's giving me a retracement. That's all. It's not giving me a big bullish engulfing bar. It's not giving me a double bottom. It's not giving me inverted head and shoulders. So I just can't do that. I just can't jump in here. And, at times that will be the exact time where the market just goes whooshter. So be it. I've got to trade probability here, and the probability here is not at the moment, nor technically at the moment, with a rally. So I can't help you there. And again, I cannot trade short at this point in time, although that looks to be the obvious, if there's such a word, the obvious way to go. But again, look at the gap between the daily and the weekly pivot compared to the context. Interesting. Euro pounds. Yeah, look, I don't know why. I just continue to think that this is something that needs to be traded. But again, I've got exactly the same thing upside down. I don't have a reversal pattern. I don't yet have a lower high. I certainly don't have a lower low. Where the hell's that? Down here somewhere. Wow. So trading against that momentum is really tough, but trading with that momentum without some form of support to bounce off is also very, very tough. If I'm a punting man, I'm saying, okay, we're going to monthly pivot, maybe a little bit deeper, find the support level, and then look for a rally again or look to go with the flow. But to be perfectly frank, there ain't anything I can do here right now. It's pure speculation, in my humble opinion, and I'm just not going there. Same pound US dollar. I can't give you any good reason to trade that unless you've got a crystal ball sitting in your house. There's nothing for me to do here. In particular, as I said, with the news coming. Pound Aussie looks a far better prospect in that we are at a support level and we've tried to dip below it. We've come back above it, and now we look to be retesting that area. So that looks far more promising to me than does any one of those other pairs. But again, do I have a reversal pattern? Answer, no. Is that a bullish engulfing bar? No. Have I got a double bottom? No. Have I got an inverted head and shoulders? It's a roughie if it's there. What I do have is a higher low. I have a higher high based on this, but I don't have a higher high based on anything else. So really, again, this is a classic retracement. And I would be expecting this to challenge the lows again. If it doesn't, then it'll just have to go without me. That bar right there is something that I would love to trade long, but I need something to back it up. I need that double bottom or the bullish engulfing bar. It looks promising, but no thanks. I'll have to give it a miss. So that's the pound pairs taken care of, I hope. Aussie yen we've dealt with. Dollar yen we haven't. Dollar yen's broken out here above this range. This is a pretty strong sign, and a strong sign against everything else I should hasten to add. I don't know why I did that. That's where I wanted to go. So looking for resistance here, there's definitely a support level, former support level that we're at. I would have thought the stronger of these levels is here. Probably there somewhere. Getting very, very close to 110. So I don't see this doing anything but going there, frankly. But again, I can't trade it there. I don't trade a runaway candle. Sometimes it's a great idea, I've got to say. This is a breakout bar after all, and it's a bloody strong one. So I'm certainly not suggesting that this can't go now. No question. It can absolutely do that. It's just not in my trading toolkit to trade there. But I know a lot of traders that will be jumping on that. Absolutely. It's not out of the question. A big breakout bar like that deserves to be taken notice of. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if this does go to 110, goes there quickly. So that's that's kind of dollar yen and pretty much where I'm at for the day, guys. Again, still looking for reversals, still very, very patient on them, but they're not coming anytime soon. And I really don't think I'll be hanging around too long today. We do have that big pound news coming, and I think I'll probably have a look at that, see what the market does as a result, and listen to what is actually said. And if there's something interesting, then maybe I'll come back to the charts and have a bit of a squeeze. Dollar yen, actually, I didn't mention this, and probably should have. Of those that have still got a chance to play out these reversals, this is definitely one of them. With very offset, of course, shoulder, head, shoulder, inverted. This is probably the neckline, and that's very interesting, and another reason why I couldn't go long. So the neckline is probably right there. If that's a shoulder and that's a shoulder, then here's the neckline and here's the neckline. As I said, it looks very, very odd, but that's what I see. If I were to put a parallelogram on that, it'll probably look even better. No, it doesn't. It's funny how the eyes play tricks on you. Not too dusty, though. Not too dusty. That point there looks very interesting, doesn't it? Am I thinking target here? Yes, I am. How do I get it to there? Well, it's going to be a slow old ride, or it's going to be retrace back to the weekly pivot, maybe, then go. Yeah, I like that idea. But gee whiz, hard to trade against that big, big breakout bar yesterday, or today, rather. Okay. It'll give me an idea anyway, and if I see something that looks remotely like 4. See, when I look at this chart, I think you're kidding, aren't you? You want to go short here? Well, the answer is no, I don't, until I see again, same, something that looks like a reversal, then a lower high, trade it back to here, then rev it up and take it to the top. I think that's probably the answer there for that one. Guys, I don't think I'm going to hang around too long today. I'll have a quick squiz at the Forex Factory, which is telling us everything we need to know. In particular, yesterday we saw a good number for the CAD. That's interesting, talking about what I was on EuroCAD earlier. The ADP non-farm employment change was around about par for the forecast. Aussie was good news, as we noted. We saw a little bit of a rally in the Aussie yesterday on the back of that. Mediocre numbers on medium in interest announcements. The rate cut, of course, that we saw. Yeah, that's about it. Today we've got, as I said, it's all about the pound today. Everything's around about the pound. Inflation report, votes for the interest rate, the MP summary, and of course the official rate, which is tipped to stay the same. If that were to change, then you'd see something, but it's highly unlikely given what we're seeing there. And of course, Carney's speech at 12:30 London time will be the focus of attention, as it was yesterday for the FOMC. So, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you today. Ash hasn't been able to get into the show all week, as we know. He is regretful of that and does send his apologies. We'll be hopefully able to catch up with him next week. I think in Hong Kong next week, but I think the load is a lot lighter and he should be able to join the show. So I'm going to cut it short today. I don't think I've got too much more to add. I don't see any questions in the questions area, so I will simply say have a wonderful weekend. Manage that if you're in it, that euro dollar trade. Manage it well. And I'd love to hear what you do with it, because I'm not sure at this point what should be done with it. Frankly, there's a few options at this point in time, and look forward to hearing next week exactly how everyone managed to deal with that. With any luck, it'll continue to go down to 105, and then we won't have to worry about managing it too much. It'll just go kachinka into the bank. Beautiful. Have a great weekend, guys, and thank you for your company. Cheers, Christo. Much appreciated. We will catch you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now.